Here we go. All right. So, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining today. My name is Kate Rothstein. I'm the Programming and Communications Manager at NCJW Pittsburgh, and I'm grateful to be here with you this afternoon. We're so appreciative that you're joining us today as we have a conversation with these two amazing women who have engaged with the League of Women Voters Pittsburgh and have worked hard to provide civic education on their website and in high school classrooms and to the public at large. We're presenting this recorded session so that even more people can access their great work. Before I begin, I wanted to remind everyone that this event is being hosted by the National Council of Jewish Women Pittsburgh. We're a progressive feminist organization guided by Jewish values that has become a powerful force for social change, advocating for gender and racial equity in the Pittsburgh region. For more than 125 years, through our advocacy efforts and service programs, our mission has always been to step forward, speak out, and stand up for the needs of all women, children, and families. And now I'd like to welcome Amy Clesis and Joanne Moore. Welcome, Amy and Joanne. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your experiences, research, and projects. Please let us know a little bit about yourselves as you begin this program and how you got involved with this work. And then I'm excited to see what you have to present.
Sounds great. Joanne, why don't you go first, because then I'm going to introduce some of the things that I do in my little talk here. Go ahead.
All right, that sounds great. My name is Joanne Moore, and I am so happy to be a volunteer with the League of Women Voters. I came to the League at my retirement a couple of years ago. I had about 40 some years in the nonprofit sector in the Pittsburgh area. The last 20 plus were at Animal Friends. And so done a lot of a variety of things in my time, but program development and working with students and education and all of that has been a big part of it. And as a native Washingtonian, born and raised in Washington, D.C., I guess government has always been a very big part of my life. And so it's a great fit for me to be able to kind of bring my education and love of government and understanding civic duty, to the League. And it's just a great honor to be a part of it.
Super. All righty. So I'm going to take it away. Thank you, Kate, for inviting us. We are so pleased to be here. The League of Women Voters is a 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties. However, in this divided world, we do support positions on issues. Our talk's entitled How to Find Reliable Information in an Unreliable World. During this election cycle, I've been remembering something my mother said about her childhood education. She said the most important thing that was taught was how to be a good citizen. As a retired educator, 6 years ago, I fulfilled one of my bucket list items by joining the League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh. I always had such a high opinion of this organization because of their nonpartisan stance. And my experience has met my original expectations and much, much more. One of my favorite League quotes is the mission statement. It's empowering voters, period, defending democracy, period. Empowering voters, defending democracy. And in these times, that just means more than ever. Another favorite League quote is, democracy is not a spectator sport. Our democracy is supposed to be powered by the participation of its citizens. The goal from the founding of the League, when women got the vote in 1920, is to inspire active but also informed voters. What we've learned in recent years is that just repeating a lie is a very effective way to amplify disinformation with voters who for many reasons are just not paying attention. We feel that part of the solution is to help citizens find reliable information and resources and become highly informed voters. The bottom line, sound bites are easy and may be false. Voting and elections are complicated and require each citizen to take on the responsibility of finding accurate information and acting on it. This is one way to be a good citizen, by recognizing your civic duty and voting. The main way that we in the League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh replace disinformation with reliable information is to have not only scrupulously accurate voting and election information, but also basic civic education as part of all we do, and to have this information anchored in our League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh website at www.lwvpgh.org. Joanne Moore will follow me with a walk through our website resources, and our website is also accessible from smartphones. So just a little more about our work. I'm Director of Civic Education in Schools and Community. We have 4 teams of volunteers: college, university, high school, community, and video teams. Our mission is to not only register and empower new voters, but also to provide that context I talked about of civic education for all voters, young, new, and even super voters, and to help them become more active and informed in every election. We deliver reliable information in many places virtually, and now increasingly in person, with voter drives, presentations, and videos. We visit colleges, universities, high schools, community centers, and organizations. And to give you just the facts, we will review our video entitled "The Journey of an Official Election Ballot" to understand the before, during, and after path of a ballot. You'll learn about the many built-in safeguards and how over time, the chain of custody for ballots has made our voting system secure and reliable. After training as a poll worker and hearing the falsehoods about our voting system that has just made my head explode, I took action and created this video. So let's get started. I want to move this down here. One more click.
Have you ever wondered what happens before, during, and after you vote? Follow the journey of an official election ballot to learn more. Voters want their votes to count. Secure elections are essential to our democracy. The reliability of election results depends on maintaining the accuracy and security of election equipment, forms, and ballots to ensure that all legal votes are counted accurately and no votes can be altered after being cast. But before we start, a little historical note. Voters want their votes to count, but over time, our election laws have needed to adapt and to build in safeguards in response to threats to the integrity of elections. We take pride in our history of free and fair elections in the U.S., but some of that history does not meet our current standards for election integrity. Election practices in the U.S. are always changing and adapting to address equity and security. Security procedures vary from state to state, but all combine chain of custody procedures with monitoring and physical security to safeguard ballots, records, and election equipment. That's why it's important to meet me, an official ballot, and follow my 4-step journey through the election process. Step 1, advance preparation. Step 2, election day. Step 3, tallying the results. Step 4, verifying the results. Step 1, advanced preparation. Before each election, the County Board of Elections tests voting machines by running decks of sample ballots and verifying the scanned results. Allegheny County's 1,300 plus precincts receive updated lists of the registered voters in their locale, along with ballots designed and barcoded for each individual precinct. There are 1,300 plus versions of the ballot in Allegheny County alone. Fun fact about barcodes. There are 2 different barcodes. The first is needed to tally the votes on an official ballot. The barcode on the left side of every official ballot is tied to each precinct. The scanning tabulating machine reads this barcode to tally the vote. This official ballot barcode has no identifiable information tied to any individual voter, only to that voter's precinct. This barcode is simply used to count the votes. Continuing with our election preparation, all voting materials and machines are kept in Allegheny County's secure elections warehouse with 24-hour video surveillance and professional security personnel. Election poll workers are recruited and trained, each swearing an oath to uphold election laws and rights before they begin serving on Election Day. Step 2, Election Day. Each polling place is open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for in-person voting. In each polling place, poll workers are led by a judge of elections who monitors all activities and ensures that all policies and procedures are upheld in the precinct. Poll workers check each voter against the precinct list to verify eligibility. Each qualified voter signs the poll book. A list of all mail-in ballots sent to qualified voters is posted in the entrance. Then each voter completes a paper ballot, either by hand or by using the express vote machine. Every in-person voter feeds their own ballot or express vote card into the scanning tabulating machine. These original paper ballots then remain in a locked drawer of the scanning machine. This machine is never connected to the internet or to any computer network. Step 3, tallying the results. After polls close at 8 p.m., one team, including the judge of the elections and at least one other poll worker, audits and inventories equipment and voted ballots, following a defined step-by-step procedure. The DS200 scanning machine tallies are recorded on thumb drives and on a paper printed machine tape, of which there are 4 copies. Paper voted ballots are returned along with the machine tapes and thumb drives and secured with plastic tie locks in the appropriate color-coded return bags. Poll workers count and place unused ballots in their appropriate color-coded return bag, which is sealed and locked in the bottom drawer of the DS200 scanner. Each precinct must return an account for every ballot they received and document the counts in the chain of custody log. The judge of elections hand delivers specific return envelopes and voted ballots to the county elections division. In each polling place, the DS200 scanning machine, final general results tape, and final general return sheet for each precinct are posted for the public to view. In some Pennsylvania counties, when received, mail-in absentee ballot outer envelopes are checked for date and signature and then are separated from the inner secrecy envelope. The unopened secrecy envelope is kept secure until Election Day beginning at 7 a.m. when tallying gets underway. Oh, another fun fact about barcodes. Did you know that every mail-in absentee ballot outer envelope has a different unique barcode created for each individual registered voter who's applied for this ballot? Scanning the unique barcode updates an individual's voter record and means the county has received the voter's official ballot. Oh, and one more fun fact. What occurs in 37 states, but not in Pennsylvania? It's pre-canvassing. This includes tallying or counting votes from mail-in absentee ballots prior to Election Day, but not recording or publishing the votes from those ballots until Election Day. Tallying the results of mail-in ballots begins at 7 a.m. on Election Day. Mail-in absentee secrecy envelopes are opened, the barcode on the ballot is scanned, and votes by precinct are tallied. These mail-in absentee ballot results are reported to the public sometime after polls close. Tallying the results of all legal votes includes the final vote count for all in-person votes, verified provisional ballot votes, and all mail-in absentee ballot votes, including overseas and military. However, there are reasons that final results may be delayed. Remember, in Pennsylvania, counting of mail-in ballots begins at 7 a.m. on Election Day and not before. And recounts mandated by courts or by Pennsylvania law take time. Counting all legal votes is just math, not fraud. Step 4, verifying the results. Who certifies the final votes for each race for Pennsylvania? The 67 counties certify their votes for all races, and the Pennsylvania Secretary of State certifies the final votes for each race for Pennsylvania. Each county board of elections is required by Pennsylvania state law to conduct a statistical sample of a random sample where actual ballots are pulled of at least 2% of the ballots cast or 2,000 ballots, whichever is fewer. If discrepancies are found or suspected, a hand count of paper ballots can be used to verify the tally. Pennsylvania is moving to risk-limiting audits, which use statistical methods to confirm that voting systems tabulated accurately and that a full hand count would produce the same outcome. Congratulations, you've completed the ballot journey. And why is it so important to know more about the behind the scenes of our voting systems? Because our elections have the built-in safeguards and security that over time have continually improved election integrity. Facts, exhaustive fact checks, analyses, and over 60 court cases failed to find evidence of widespread voter fraud or evidence that any voting systems malfunctioned that would have changed the outcome of the 2020 election. And yet, since 2020, 49 states have introduced more than 440 bills that included provisions to restrict voting rights. 19 states have passed 34 laws, making it harder for some to cast ballots. 88 of those bills in 9 states will roll over into 2022's legislative sessions. Take action. Every election counts. You count. Vote. Want more information? Check out these important resources. You can go to vote.pa.gov and search for election security in PA. You can also go to our lwvpgh.org website to see the webpage Exploring Free and Fair Elections in Pennsylvania under the PA Government tab. Even more resources. You can go to lwvpgh.org and to our voter resource library to find the infographic entitled 475. Investigators from the Associated Press spent months investigating every potential case of 2020 voter fraud in the 6 battleground states. They spoke with more than 300 local election officials, as well as secretaries of state and state attorneys general. Their findings? Fewer than 475 potential cases of voter fraud were identified, which would have made no difference in the final 2020 results. We also used resources from major news organizations such as CBS and PBS. You can go to vote.pa.gov to see this election security video. And remember, informed voters power America. And you can get more involved. Become a poll worker. For more information about that, see the Allegheny County Board of Elections website. Also, you can join us, the League of Women Voters, where for more than 100 years, we have been empowering voters and defending democracy. You can contact us at the League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh via phone 412-261-4284 or through our website, www.lwvpgh.org. Additional sources. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the journey of an official election ballot. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so let me stop share.
So it's really great. I love that video. And I
Primary
had a quick question that came up. I was
Voters.
Wait one
Robert
second,
Morris
I'm
is the person.
sorry. I always
The League
do
of Women
that.
Voters is a nonpartisan
Let's see
organization
which
that does not
one's
support or
talking.
oppose.
This one's talking. All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, who is the County Board of Elections? How do they get that position? Who are they, and how are they there?
So I know who they are, but I'm not exactly sure how they get there. Joe, do you know? Rich Fitzgerald is one, Sam DeMarco is the Republican, and Bethany Hallam's a Democrat. So there's three
So
of
the
them.
county executive, whoever
Right.
that happens to be, and then
Right.
at least one
A
from each
Republican.
party.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Huh.
I don't know if they vote for them. That's a good question. No one ever asked me that before, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I haven't, because I haven't ever seen an election for them, and
Right,
but I don't know
right.
how they get to that position.
Right.
I signed up for poll working this year for the first time.
Good.
And yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I've done poll watching in the past and
Right.
other things like that.
There is one thing on the video that they, at the time I made it, they were still gonna pull to check the accuracy. They were gonna pull ballots. Now they've all moved to just the risk limiting
Okay.
technical math formula kind of thing. They don't do the actual pulling of ballots anymore. So, but I
I'm
had
sure,
it in there as that it was moving towards that. And now it has moved towards that. So
yeah, I'm sure many studies have shown that that's just as accurate.
right, exactly. All right. So are you ready, Joe? To walk through?
Sure,
All
I
right.
am.
I will.
You're
I
gonna
will.
run, you'll get there for me?
Yes, I will. Let me see here. I just want to get to, let's see, get to the home page. There we
Yeah,
go.
that's perfect. And we're gonna spend some time on that top bar for a little bit. And I think it'll be okay it will be easy to follow. Oh, excuse me. The League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh, holding true to its mission of empowering voters and defending democracy, undertook a really bold initiative almost 4 years ago now. And that was to create a website for citizens in our area where they could turn for accurate, reliable, nonpartisan information. We feel there's no more powerful way to empower a voter than to provide information and education. So that's really been the commitment of this website. And this initiative just became even more important as we find ourselves, as Amy mentioned earlier, in this time frame where disinformation and misinformation has literally become the norm. And if you're anything like me, you find it kind of difficult at times to plow your way through and sort through what's real, what isn't. It can be daunting, it can be exhausting, and it can be disheartening. And we don't want that to happen for you. We want you to turn to the League for support. We have as many resources as we can pull together here on our website. You can ask us a question. If we don't know the answer, we'll try and find and get it for you. We feel so strongly about that interaction and getting that information to you. So we hope that you really will turn to us and use us as a support. As we've mentioned, we try and keep this as simple as possible. Our web address is lwvpgh.org, Legal Women Voters, Pittsburgh.org. It's very, very simple. And although one of the things that I really appreciate so much about everything that has gone into the information here is that we're making it available to everybody. You don't have to be a member to access it. Now, we would love for you to become a member. We want very much for you to join us and to participate and find your niche in finding something to do to improve our community. But the resources on this page and on this website are available to everyone. And I think that's really something that's important to understand. And to also know that this information has come through a process. These are questions that we have asked ourselves. This is information that we were wondering about. This is information that our community partners have asked us about. Can you help us with this? What do you know about that? And so we have tried to pull those answers together. Our high school students, our college students, all of that, all of their questions have gone into pulling all of this together. Also, we go through a vetting process. We try and be as nonpartisan as possible. We vet this information, we check our sources, and we cite our sources. So if there's any question, one can always kind of see what our process has been, and you can follow along with us. And I think that's what really, makes me feel comfortable, in sharing all of this, is that, it's, it goes through quite a good solid process. Obviously, we're on our homepage here, and we're just going to go across that top toolbar for just a minute about the league. Always hit that when you get some extra time. Great information on there, who we are, what we do, a little bit of our history, all the latest stuff that's going on within the league, you're going to find there. So always very helpful information. Membership. As I said before, we would love to have you join us. The League of Women Voters is not for women only. The League is open to anyone over the age of 16 who shares an affinity for our mission. Also, our student memberships are free. So we encourage young folks to get involved. The sooner, the better. Very, very important. Our 2022 elections tab is a hot item these days. It's going to break down the races for that are most important to us, and we're going to come back and spend a little more time there, but just know that focus is on the different races in the election. Voting, our next big tab. This board obviously are the largest, the broadest topics that we will then break down. And voting is going to cover, in our voting tab, everything from voter registration to making a plan. If you're new to voting, if you know your rights, I mean, there's so much on that tab. We encourage you to look at it. Civic education and outreach, that's clearly something special to Amy and myself, where we, all the programs that we offer for students to schools all across the area, we are happy to get involved with students. We will definitely be talking a bit more about our voter resource library. It is an incredible resource, and we're going to come back to it in depth We also have a presentation library of videos and all different kinds of things that you can access. Our PA government, you need a deep dive into what's going on in Pennsylvania government. If you need a refresher in how our Pennsylvania government works, here's where you go. This is, really important information about the workings of PA government. Our advocacy, as Amy mentioned, while we do not support or oppose a candidate, we do take positions on issues. And again, our position statements are grassroots driven. This comes through a process to us through the League of Women Voters US, and we do develop policy positions. So if you're interested in how the League feels about particular items, you will find that here. We have our event calendar, which you also see on the front page there, all the things that are coming up. And then we do have a very special tab for our voter resource library. You want to hit the voter resource. There we go. Thank you, Amy. In this library, you are going to find, there are more than 50 infographics on a variety of topics to cover so many different questions. Anything that that you may have a question about, how to make a plan to vote. What are the registration requirements? All of these different things, fact and fiction. What's real, what isn't? Just an incredible amount of resources for you to take a look at. They're downloadable. We want you to use them. So many topics, mail-in ballots, just so many different things you can find information about. We really, really encourage you to type in, what you're searching for, what you're looking for, and see what pops up out of our library. Included, we have videos. You saw the Journey video. We have a little one on the history of women's suffrage. Most recently, we're doing some groundbreaking stuff, videos with, for incarcerated citizens knowing their rights and returning citizens. Once you have completed your sentence, what's open to you. And all of these things are they're niches that people don't know that are available to them. Again, the League wants people to vote. We are not about the who, we are about the how, and you knowing and being sure that you have that right to vote and how to use it. So we really highly recommend the Voter Resource Library. If you are looking, and we can go back to that front page. Thank you. To homepage, yep. Thank you. You will see our Facts for Citizens booklet is a very important booklet. It's published every year by the League, and it's contact information for every elected official in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It breaks down all the positions. It has office information. It even has some salary information, which always seems to be of interest to people. So we have that available. And again, that's available in printed form, but always accessible on our website. Right now, you will always see, what are the upcoming dates. November 8th is election day. You will often see we have a countdown calendar to our next election. That sometimes is there. But right now, one of the most important things that we want to direct people to is the voter's guide. And it's part of and our Vote 411 project. The voter's guide is a detailed guide for citizens to use to learn about the candidates. Each year, the League sends to every candidate a list of questions. There are 4 questions this year in this election cycle, and every candidate is given the opportunity to respond to those questions. Their answers are then published. They are not edited. They are not altered in any way. They are as written by the candidate. We obviously are always looking for 100% participation, but as of late, we are finding that we are not always getting participation from all the candidates, which, you know, can be unfortunate, because this is just a terrific way of getting a sense of what your candidates may be about. Now, the voter guide has the bigger picture. Our Vote 411, which is really helpful. This is very specific to you. All you have to do is type in your address, your street address, city, state, your zip code, and your ballot pops up. So you can see then, you know, obviously, you know, who's running, you know, usually Senate, on the federal positions we're pretty savvy about, but sometimes when it gets down to, you know, our municipal, we are not quite as sure. And this pulls up everybody that it will be on your ballot. And then you can also see the answers to their questions and make some more informed decisions. These are such a really, really helpful piece. And again, we break it down a little bit further from our election pages, governor, lieutenant governor, where you can see, again, you know, just do a straight shot comparison. I think people are surprised to see how many people are running. That all the parties are represented here. Green Party, Libertarian, Keystone, everybody's represented here. And, you know, you learn a bit more even about, oh, I didn't know about all those parties. And you learn, you know, a bit more about all of that. But one of the most important things on this line, Amy, where we were,
Okay.
is the ballot questions.
Well, that's, let me go to that.
Yeah,
It's a-
back to the main tab there. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
There we go. On that line, and the ballot questions are things that pop up that everyone has a chance to vote on. Often they are written in what I refer to as political lawyer speak. So sometimes they're not terribly easy to understand. And one of the great things that I appreciate that we do on this site is to break it down. And what does it mean if, you know, you've got it written here in the very formal language it needs to be written in, but then you get to see it break down that, you know, okay, this is what a yes means. This is what a no means, because a lot of times we are not savvy about that. We may be reading it in a certain way, and it's that subtlety and the nuance of the language that can flip it around. So ballot questions it's so valuable to have that breakdown on a ballot question. And we often don't pay as close attention to those ballot questions as well we should. They can be very, very important. We will find coming up next year in the municipal elections, where there tends to be a few less voter turnout, that's where we tend to see a lot more of the ballot questions be brought forward. And sometimes, you know, okay, maybe not as many people are looking at it. So we just want to make sure, take a look at all of that available information to you. You know, all the races are laid out, you know, as succinctly as we possibly can. There's also you know, as we know, the 2020 census caused a redistricting in our area, and on our front page we do have, you know, what the districts are. That kind of, you know, that's starting to get, you know, kind of heavy into the weeds. But it's very, very important if you need to know, oh, I didn't know I was in the 17th. I didn't know I was in the 12th. You know, who is with me. So it's very, very important information. and it can be taken statewide. You can go all the way across the state and find out, what all the districts are and that kind of thing. So you can get, kind of a bird's eye view, or you can do a deep dive and you can find all kinds of information. The League is a big proponent of candidate forums and sponsors many. And it's an opportunity to bring people together. And we, offer and ask for many, and you will find out about the forums through our candidate form listing on the website, and often, through the TV stations that, usually often WTAE, is a great supporter of those, but all of the stations are, helpful in getting that word out. So we do try very much to, get that information out there so people can our citizenry can make an informed decision. And important to know that, we're working and developing this even further to help assist our Spanish-speaking population. And so we're moving as many things as we can, as I've been able to, into Spanish. So we're working in that way. Inclusion is so very, very important. We want all of our neighbors to feel, welcome on our website, to be able to have access to this information, and, to feel as comfortable about it as you possibly can. So, Amy, what have I missed?
I just want to do this page real quick.
Sure.
So this is a new page for young and new voters. And it has all of our resources. We have a lot of videos now for them. And also I talked about these two. Some kids don't know that they can vote when they're out of state students. So we have these two graphics that are really good, and they're right there. We have posters that are up at college campuses where they can just use the QR codes to register to vote, and could really just download this and use it that way. We've got poll worker posters. And we've got, what's your voting plan? Where happened to my little, I like this. Okay, what's your political party? A lot of times they don't know what to do for the party thing. And it's about the primary. We have closed primaries. You have to register Democratic or Republican to vote. And usually young people want to be independent or one of the other parties. But we just tell them, get through the primary and you can change your registration later. But to vote and to have any say at all into the candidates that are chosen, you've got to register Republican or Democratic. This helps. This little Pew political party typology quiz kind of helps kids know where they stand, young people. So I really like that. These make a plan to vote is really good. First-time voters need to know ID requirements. So that's all right there. We've got this Vote 411 video that's very helpful. And as we said, we can help you how to vote, but who to vote for, that's totally up to you. And we just encourage young people, new voters, anybody to do the work and find out, what information is important to you. What are your issues and what's the information you need to find out? Sounds good? That's great. Good, Joanne. Thank you. That's a good run through. Anything else, Kate?
That's awesome. I mean, I know the website is dense. I mean, it's great that there's
It's
so much
also-
information.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's
You don't let
really-
it intimidate you. It's okay.
Yeah, you
There's
kind
a
of
lot
keep
of stuff
burrowing
on there.
down and burrowing down, and you see a lot of stuff going on. So I just have a couple questions, like who maintains it? How long? How much time? That's a volunteer position, and how much
All
time?
volunteers.
And how
So-
much time?
It's 24/7. Ruth Quint's our webmaster. Most of the political pages are hers. A lot of the pages that are static are mine.
Yeah.
So I do the voter resource library, some of the voting pages, the history page, different ones that are static. Ruth does she does the PA government pages. She is an amazing, talk about burrowing researcher, and she likes all the details, and she does the homepage and keeps that very current. So yeah, that's kind of how we divide it up, but she's the webmaster and has the main knowledge about how it all fits together. And
So will it switch to the 2023 election pretty quickly after November 8th, or
we try to take a little breather.
Yeah.
And everything's because people really don't come back after the election, right? but in advance, we work at least 6 weeks, probably more like 2 months before every election. We start changing things over to the next election.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And we try to have, like, for the graphics and the explainers and even the videos, we try to not have any dates in things anymore,
Yeah.
so that we're not really redoing,
Yeah.
things.
So much. Yeah.
Right.
So what
There-
kind,
we
where are
do
the
try and
gaps?
do
Sorry.
some analysis though. Post-election,
Post-election.
there will be, the Allegheny County numbers and, how many, the percentage of people that voted and,
Right.
those kinds of things. The league will do, some of that.
A little bit of that afterwards.
That analysis afterwards. And then, then it's okay, got to get ready for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Voting never ends. So where do you have gaps in like where you need help? Are there any gaps, or do you feel like you're pretty well covered?
You don't know what you don't know. I don't know. There's probably gaps. One thing I think we need to do better is maybe simplify some things. We do these bags for the community, and and we also have done we had 2 projects that are printed materials, trying to reach people that don't have internet. And we did it for Pittsburgh Public Schools. We made how many 3,400 this season.
3,400 this, yep.
For Pittsburgh Public School seniors, and they take them home, hopefully, to their families, and hopefully, read. So we put some graphics in there. We put, little reminders and how the qualifications and we put 4-page mailers and instruction sheets. So everything someone would need to register to vote. And we passed those out, and Joanne came up with this brilliant idea. We send our posters to all the high schools in Allegheny, Beaver, Butler, Washington, and Westmoreland counties. And we've heard from a few that we never got into before who have posted them. Yeah.
Oh,
So
great.
that's really cool. And Joanne's doing ongoing voter information just in bits, different pieces of some of our resources at different times. And we're going to try to continue having, and hopefully get a response from some of these schools that we can actually go visit.
We're hoping to build relationships within the schools. We have some that have been good friends for a while, but breaking in is hard.
Right.
And so we're hoping that through the posters have the QR code on them, so when the kids turn 18, all they got to do is scan it and they can register. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible, but at the same time build those relationships, because as we have found going into the schools in the last couple of years, the process has gotten so politicized that everything, we're seen as political, and we're trying to be seen as educators,
Right. Right.
And so to help build that relationship, so our schools and our young people understand.
Yeah.
Through the summer, I'm going to try to come up with some simple, I don't know what, step by step, what is a democracy? Here's what you need to know. I just feel like I need a little more simplified, and I don't exactly know what that'll be. And then I was kind of telling you about my new idea, kind of having an information corps of volunteers who want to go out there and just talk to people and answer questions. I've found through our presentations this season here that people have so many questions. They still are very confused and don't find the information they need. And that's our constant battle. To me, that is where the gap is, that we have information, but we have to match it with voters. And that is what's difficult.
Well, that's encouraging that you're building these relationships. And if you have that trust, then people will turn to you, hopefully, and rely on that information. So that's, it's that ground level, grassroots, day in, day out work that helps with that. I had an interesting thought in one of the things, you said you've got policy positions, and then you say you're not partisan, but I feel like, these days that policy positions kind of are partisan almost, but they shouldn't be. And hopefully we'll get back to a place where they are not again.
Right. It is the definition of democracy has, I don't know. It's been a tough year. That's all we can say.
Yeah,
Well,
and
yeah.
we've been criticized for taking some of the positions, but it's like, all right, we're the League of Women Voters. How are we going to not
Right.
respond?
Right.
I mean, there's that line of responsibility versus irresponsibility, and
Right.
it's like you have to
The
take a stand.
The original plank is just the same as today. Education, cost of homes, child welfare, health. They're all the same issues.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Things
Yeah.
don't change, but they do. So just keep hopeful that we keep on plugging. We don't give
Yeah.
up.
Well, thank you for this hour together. I really appreciate it. I learned
Thank you.
something new. I learned that every time I learned today that the poll numbers are posted at the polling sites. I didn't know that
Yes.
happened. So that was interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
And somehow I missed it when I watched the video in the past. But thank you for your time. And
welcome.
our missions are very similar. They overlap a lot. So it's always a pleasure to partner with you and work with you.
Hope we do continue to do
We
that.
will
Thanks,
continue,
Kate.
and we'll see you
Great.
out there. Yeah.
All right.
Everybody out there
Thank you.
watching, anybody watching, please go vote. This election and every election.
Please. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Kate.
All right. Take care.
Take
Have a
good
good
care.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.